Okay, let's begin this session today. And this in this session, we will be discussing about RBI's master circulars and all other circulars that is released in the month of August 2020. And in this month of August 2020, the bi-month policy is also released. So we'll have focus on it. So in this session, we have some most critical aspects, critical issues that RBI has addressed during this COVID-19 time. So that are important in point of view of exams and interviews. So that are these prudential norms of asset classification, MSME restructure of loans of MSME and other loans as well. And there are also other norms like norms related to the current account opening. Now, as you know, that current account opening has become more stricter. There are some strict rules, stringent rules that has taken place, that has introduced by Reserve Bank of India in order to open current account, because through current account many businessmen has to deal they were dealing in current accounts, and normally they used current account to divert funds from CCOD account, and it was a most popular route for diverting funds and misusing the funds, rather you can say it. So let's see all that in this edition. We will also be having we will also be discussing the related terms in this edition, because in last time we have discussed all the sessions, all the related terms that and all the circulars that were released in the month of July, which become popular among students, and because it was a first of its kind. So because all other banking awareness channels, they're on shows on current banking news that is related to small finance banks, many other institutions, which has no validity in exam point of view. In exam point of view, RBI master circulars play a very crucial role. Hence, we will be looking into the specific facts, specific current affairs, current banking issues that is directly related to RBI and banks related to it. Okay, so let's begin the session. Before that, I want to say thank you to more than 1,000 subscribers who have subscribed us. If you have not yet subscribed us, then do it right now, and it will be motivating us. We have also launched a book on banking laws. Do check out it in the links in description. It will be helping you preparing for any bank interview or written test for that matter. So let's start. The first one is resolution framework that is related to COVID-19. As you know that this COVID-19 shock is now being felt through this GDP downgrade, and it's a big issue that for the first time in decades, or the first time in the history of GDP, it has been declined, and such a huge decline, 23% decline is a huge. I think no other country will have will be feeling such a big shock. The countries those are worst effect had felt worst effects of COVID-19 are also have proper GDP growth, but we are facing as a developing country, we are facing more shocks. Okay, that is definitely the higher span of time we were closed our cities. Yeah, it's not audible. Is it not audible to others? Okay. Please check your voice. Okay, let's go ahead. So this shock related to COVID-19 is now out of control. So questions will be similarly asked about this GDP degrowth. You have to find out the points. You have to find out the facts, because you cannot say that it is an act of God, like Nirmala Sitharaman has pointed out. You have to have a proper clarification why this GDP was downgraded. So that is probably for the longer period of time, or we were very early to close down our cities, close down the country, and that is due to this. And most appropriately, you can say that in India, there are many there is a huge number of migrant workers, those who work in neighboring or far away states. So their home return was a big issue. That's why industry outputs were lowered. That are the issues. We'll be discussing it once we have a clear guidelines that interviews are going to happen. But this could be an issue and this could be a question. So let's see what are the resolution frameworks that has done owing to this COVID-19. That is, first, RBI provided a principle-based resolution framework, or you can say it prudential framework, for addressing borrower defaults under a normal scenario. As you know, the defaults in normal scenario is classified as a NPA after 90 days of default. In case of a CCOD account, the norms are different. We have already discussed them. So, but in the wake of this COVID-19, there is a new prudential framework which is enrolled, and there is a concession given to enroll accounts, to classify accounts under NPA. Okay. So in normal scenarios, any resolution plan implemented under the guidelines of prudential framework, which involves granting of any concession on any account of financial difficulty of the borrower, entails an asset classification downgrade. Sorry. In normal scenarios, whenever there is a stress felt by the borrower, the classification of account is downgraded. If it is standard, then it is downgraded to substandard. Likewise, okay. But in COVID scenario, it is rechecked, and this sorry, this asset classification, the asset classification norms are changed, and new rules were introduced. Okay, and there is no if in normal standard this asset classification need to be remain stable, then the asset ownership needed to be changed. That means the loan should be transferred from one person to another, or it could be done through securitization. But in this COVID scenario, that has been done away without changing the ownership of the asset. Now you can classify this NPAs as a stable account. Okay, you can classify standard account as a standard account without downgrading it to substandard. And in case in normal scenarios, the same thing has to be done. This has to be done through ownership change. Okay, you get it? A asset, if there is a stress felt by the borrower, and if it is found that you need to change you need not change the asset classification, then you have to change the asset ownership. But in corona times, this rule has been done away with. Okay, this is what this resolution framework says. Considering the above, with the intent to facilitate revival of real sector activities and mitigate the impact on the ultimate borrowers, it has been decided to provide a window under this prudential framework to enable the lenders to implement a resolution plan in respect of eligible corporate exposures without change in ownership and in personal loans, while classifying such exposures as standard, subject to specified conditions. Though there is a stress in the asset is felt, but due to the wake of corona, this classification will remain stable as it was until 31st March 2020. Whatever the status of the asset was there, it will remain same, and there is no need to change the asset ownership. Okay, this is what this resolution framework says. Who are the eligible borrowers under this resolution framework? Borrowers who would have had a good track record, but for the COVID-19 pandemic are covered. Okay, so the bank has to classify those who have good track records, but only due to corona they have started defaulting, or they have availed the moratorium. These accounts should be classified as stable. Okay, those who are otherwise stable, those accounts who were otherwise standard is now treated as standard assets. Okay, this if there is any default owing to this COVID-19 outbreak, that will not be taken into consideration. This is a simple thing. This is what RBI has done, and many banks are opposing. Bank managements are opposing. Okay, because banks, why banks are opposing to this moratorium or this resolution framework? Why? Can anyone tell? I think you have seen Uday Kotak, this Axis Bank chief, many others saying that RBI should not allow moratorium. Why? What do you believe? Let's also discuss the questions related to this circulars. Why? Can anyone tell why banks are objecting to it? Though RBI is saying it is necessary, but banks are saying banks are objecting. Banks have objection to it. Why? It has you will have answer in a one sentence. You can tell it. This is not a big deal. You can tell it. Why banks are saying people are able to repay are also seeking moratorium. Okay, that is okay. Yes, that means this repayment habit of customers is getting downgraded. Okay, that is the case. That's great. But there are also other things, because banks are profitable organizations, they are commercial organizations, and they cannot do charity. Okay, so the banks, public sector banks or private sector banks, they are now classified as commercial organizations, and commercial organizations cannot survive without loan repayment. Okay, without their earning from their assets. So that is why banks are opposing to it. Okay, banks cannot do charity. This is a popular statement. Even in your banks, your management could be hard saying this to you, that we are professional organizations, we cannot do charity. Okay, right? So this is a factual case of doing charity. Okay, so that is the main reason. So who are the eligible borrowers? Those who are otherwise having standard accounts. Only due to corona, their asset classification have been changed. Okay, yes, right. The reference date for examining the performance of the borrower is 1st of March 2020. I think this COVID lockdowns were started in the month of March 20th March 2020. This started, so this classification has been done till up to 1st of March. Okay, only those loan accounts which were classified as standard and had not been in default for more than 30 days on 1st of March 2020 are eligible to be resolved under the special framework. Okay, resolution framework. Ineligible borrowers who are not eligible in this scheme: loans to financial service providers, loans to central and state governments, local government bodies, and body corporates established under legislation. That means commercial loans, loans to commercial entities. Commercial entities does not mean MSME. Okay, MSME borrowers whose aggregate exposure to all its lending institutions collectively is INR 25 crore or less as on 1st of March 2020. Okay, for MSME, the collective or aggregate exposure is below 25 crores. Loans provided by lenders to their own personnel or staff, so bank staffs. Loan accounts which are not classified as standard as on the date of invocation of this resolution process. So when it is started, this resolution process is started, if the asset is not classified as a standard, then it cannot be cannot come under this resolution framework. Okay, resolution process. Lenders are required to frame board approved policies detailing the manner in which the evaluation of a borrower's performance may be done, and details of implementation of viable resolution plans for eligible borrowers. So the bank has to constitute their own credit committee to evaluate all this. Okay, under this special frameworks, lenders and their borrowers have been given time till 31st December 2020 to invoke this resolution process. So banks have time till 31st of December to invoke this resolution process. Or sooner or later, every bank has to do with this resolution process, because this the terms of this COVID-19 is going to be felt more significantly in coming days, because people who are now adjusting their savings, and situations are going to be dramatically worse in coming days. Believe me or believe this economists, whatever we are feeling in this year, whatever we are witnessing in this year is nothing worst, because there were incomes in past year, we are doing with it. But for the first time, this GDP numbers were came out, and there was so much of cry in market. But in coming days it will be more worse, because numbers are in rise in India. Whenever this what is that vaccine will come, it will take time, and distribution will be a major challenge. And there the new normal is not going to be accepted in terms of business normalcy. Business will not those who are popular business at a time or before corona will not remain to exist, because people will change their habit. So that means new business will emerge, and that will be challenging not only for bankers, for business houses as well. Okay, and the numbers for the next year will be very, very bad. And people are running, people, corporates, banks, everybody is now relying on last year's saving or last year's performance. But this year's performance will decide the next year's budget, or everything about next year. Okay, that will also impact this job market, everything. And this salary packages will be accordingly decided, because the income level will may drastically go down. And when the income level will go down, the purchasing power of the borrowers will also go down. That will impact economy. Okay, so that is how the economy may be impacted. So that needs to be addressed as early as possible. Okay, it can be done through discussion. Such type of things can be done through discussion. We will be having discussion first. We will learn the literature of banking first. We have enough time to discuss, because don't worry, this process will be done in December. If the shortlisting will be started, then it will take 1 or 2 months. Or if they will go ahead with written, then only it will take 2 months, 2-3 months. So we'll go on discussing about this type of questions. So you point out, or you have to write down such questions when we are discussing, so that in a future, in coming days, we will be discussing them. Okay. Okay, key features for personal loans under this resolution process. The agreed resolution plan must be implemented within 90 days from the date of invocation of resolution process. The resolution plan may provide for steps such as rescheduling of payments or granting of a moratorium, subject to maximum of 2 years. Okay, so maximum 2 years banks are allowed to give moratorium, but no one is going to give for 2 years moratorium. It will be very high, and no bank will sustain if they will give 2 years of moratorium. In other loans, the agreed resolution plan will have to be implemented within 180 days. In PL it is 90 days, and in other loans it is 180 days. You have to remember this only. In case of multiple lenders, the resolution process will be treated as invoked if the lenders representing at least 75% by value and 60% by number agree to invoke the resolution process. Okay. The RBI has set up an expert committee to recommend a list of financial parameters to be factored into resolution plan. Can I know who is heading this expert committee? If you have read financial newspapers, as I have suggested from the first day, I think you may be knowing. Yes, great. KV Kamath. Who was KV Kamath? Who is KV Kamath? Who is KV Kamath? Yes. PL and other loans. It was about other loans. Okay, it is for other loans as well, but I've not mentioned it. In other loans, this moratorium can also be given, but that is up to this credit committee, that expert committee, to decide. Okay, this expert committee is now set up, and individual banks will have to do their homework, and they will come to this expert committee, and this is okay. This is not a final process. Okay, this is a guideline. The process, this resolution process, to be invoked by December 31st. There is a time. This is a guideline. Under this guideline, this framework to be done. Okay, this resolution framework to be done, and banks were given the time, and this expert committee is now constituted. Expert committee is now created, so it will take time. Okay, I was saying who is Kebi Kamath, because when you say Kebi Kamath, I always said this next question is always related to the first one. Then he will ex ICICI, then former chairman. Yes, great. Then ICICI to Infosys to ICICI. Yes. New Development Bank of BRICS. Great. That's great. Okay. Yeah, he was heading New Development Bank. New Development Bank is headquartered. In Shanghai. Yes, China. Yes. The asset classification of loan accounts classified as standard may be retained upon implementation of this resolution process. For accounts which may have become non-performing assets between the period of invocation of the resolution plan and its implementation, such accounts may be upgraded as a standard on the date of implementation of this resolution plan. If an interim additional loan is granted to the borrower before implementation of this resolution plan, the interim loan may be classified as standard till the implementation of this resolution plan. You don't need to have this complete analysis of this resolution plan. If individual banks start floating this resolution plan, then I will be telling you what is the resolution plan of SBI. Before the exam, you have to understand the resolution plan of State Bank of India only. But now you just have an idea that this resolution plan is done just to maintain the asset classification as a standard. If there is any default owing to this COVID-19 outbreak, that not to be taken into account. That is this case. Okay. The special framework stipulates that the post-implementation of a resolution plan, both in case of PL and other loans, the lenders must, from the date of such implementation, keep a minimum 10% of their renegotiated debt exposures. Okay. Yeah, hello. I think my voice breaking. If it is okay with others, then you please check your network. I think today my network is stable. I don't have any issue. Yes, I'm audible to others. You please check your network. So, voice is having issues. Okay, it is having issues for few of you. Okay, leave it. Try to understand it, or you will be getting it in recording form. So don't worry about that. Or you will be getting this PDF after the class. So don't worry. If some of my points are missing to you, please try to collect it. Okay, great. Now audible. Great. So for that restructured loan, what should be this provisioning norms? They say that it's, for PL and other loans, the lenders must keep a minimum of 10% of their renegotiated debt exposure. Okay. With regard to rolling back of provisions made, it has been specified that half of the provisions may be written back upon the borrower paying at least 20% of residual debt without slipping into NPA. If customer pays 20% of the debt, then it will not be classified as NPA and no provisions therefore required. Okay. In case of resolution plans where the aggregate exposure of lenders at the time of invocation of this resolution process is INR 1 billion and above, an independent credit evaluation of such resolution plans will have to be conducted by any one credit rating agency authorized by the RBI. So whenever the resolution plan is done for a case of rupees 1 billion or above, this should be done by a credit rating agency. After a proper credit rating done, the bank can go ahead with the resolution plan. Okay, I think you have understood the outlines of this process. So restructuring of MSME loans, there is a separate guidelines issued about the restructuring of MSME loans, because MSME, why it is important to give emphasis on MSME loans? Can anyone tell me why it is important to give emphasis on MSME loans? Yes, directly related to GDP, or it is the highest job MSME is related to the highest job creation. Okay, in informal sector, the job creation done through MSME is highest. So that is why it is important. It is always MSME, whenever it comes to MSME, it is about job creation. Existing loans in MSME is classified as standard may be restructured without downgrading it to substandard. If it is standard, okay, yes. Self-employment directly related to job creation. That is what I'm saying. Okay, the aggregate exposure, including non-fund based facilities of banks and NBFCs to the borrowers, does not exceed rupees 25 crore as on January 1st, 2020. The borrower's account was in default but was a standard asset as on 1st of January. Okay, and continues to be classified as a standard asset till the implementation of this restructuring plan. The restructuring of this borrower account is implemented on or before December 31st, 2020. So both this resolution framework and this restructuring of MSME has a timeline that is to be done by December 31st. But this in the resolution process, remember, the assets that were classified as standard till 1st of March 2020 were taken into account. Here, the standard assets till 1st of January 2020 were taken into account. Okay. It is classified that accounts which have already been restructured in terms of the circular dated January 1st, 29 shall not be eligible for restructuring. Okay. And for restructuring, the borrowing entity is GST registered. It should be GST registered, and those who are exempted from GST will continue to enjoy this restructuring facility. Okay. So for MSME restructuring, the first point, they should be standard till 1st of January 2020. They should be GST registered, and it should be done by 31st of December 2020. And if once the restructuring is done by the circular of 1st of January 2019, then they will not be eligible for another restructuring. Okay. Another circular that is directly related to Basel 3, change in debt, mutual funds and ETFs. ETF is exchange traded funds. Okay. The Reserve Bank of India reduced the risk capital, that is now 9%, that banks need to set aside against the investment of debt mutual funds and exchange traded funds, a move that may improve liquidity in these funds. Okay. So there is a risk capital, that is like capital adequacy ratio. Whenever banks do investment in mutual funds, equity markets, they need to set aside a certain amount of money on behalf of that investment, because that is this minimum capital adequacy ratio. Okay, that is to deal with this minimum capital adequacy ratio. So this is related to Basel 3. Okay, but now it is reduced if banks are investing in debt mutual funds or debt ETFs. The risk capital they should set aside is 9%. If any bank is investing rupees 100 in debt mutual funds, they have to keep aside rupees 9. For all other purpose, this capital adequacy ratio for bank, the total capital adequacy ratio for bank in India is 11.5. Okay, and investment in debt mutual funds will attract 9% of risk capital. That is what we call, in other words, RWA, risk weighted assets. Okay, banks to allocate lower capital as compared to holding the same debt instrument through a mutual fund or exchange traded funds, ETFs. Okay, so if they would have invested in a equity mutual fund, the allocation would have been higher. And prior to this circular, whatever amount they have to keep aside, that is almost as per this Basel III guidelines, it is almost 12.5%, I guess. Okay, so whatever this amount they had to keep aside for equity mutual funds, the same was with debt mutual funds. But now the system has been changed. This and if bank would have been invested in direct debt instruments, like they would have bought some bonds, government bonds, they would have keep aside 9%. But for debt mutual funds, it was higher, and it was equal to this equity mutual funds. But now it has been changed. So this is what this circular says. There is nothing in it. Currently, banks have to set aside more capital when they invest in debt mutual funds compared to when they buy debt instruments. This is what I was saying. Investment in mutual funds is treated on par with equity funds when it comes to capital requirements of the bank. But now it has been changed. Now, investment in debt mutual funds or debt ETFs is equal to debt instruments, is directly equal to directly buying debt instruments. Okay, when banks directly invest in debt papers, capital requirements are generally lower and based on the credit rating and the nature of the debt instruments. So if credit rating is good of a debt instrument, the capital requirement is generally lower. Okay, a higher rating makes that instrument safe for the banks. It is for investors also. Okay, as you also know, in this bi-monthly policy, loan to value ratio is changed for gold loans. It is changed from 75% to 90%. This is what all of us know. But if you go to detailed circular, you will find this LTV is increased till 31st March 2021. Okay, in news it is said that this when the bi-monthly policy was released, what it was said, the LTV of gold loan is increased. Now business will be growing for Muthoot Finance, and the stocks of Muthoot Finance were in rise. But this is for a limited period. And in generally in MCQs or in some interview questions as well, if they will ask what is the LTV for gold loans, if you will say 90%, then it may be wrong. You can say 90% till 2021. Okay. Discipline in current account opening. This is a whole new era of floating a disciplinary rules for current accounts, because prior to this only tight disciplines for credit related instruments were found, but now onwards you will see disciplines in current account, because current account of a business is directly linked to the credit facilities the institutions avail, the business avail. So what the rules say, that no bank shall open current account for customers who have availed credit facilities in the form of cash credit, OD, from the banking system, and all transactions shall be routed through CC/OD account. You got it? That means that banks will not encourage business houses to open current accounts if they are having existing CC/OD account. So if someone is having CC/OD account, he will be operating through CC/OD account only. They will not be allowed to open current accounts. Those who don't have CC/OD facility, banks can open current accounts if the total exposure of the borrowers is less than 5 crore. if they have taken term loans and other loans of 5 crore but no CCOD account, current accounts can be opened. As and when the exposure goes beyond 5 crore, the borrower has to inform the bank and thereafter it will govern differently. Okay. So from entire banking system, the exposure should be 5 crore, not from that concerned bank. That means you need to, before opening a current account, you need to check now the CIBIL records of the customer. Okay. Credit facilities of 5 crore to rupees 50 crore. Any lender can open a current account, while non-lending entities can only open collection accounts. Okay. So those who are lending to the customer and the loan amount is 5 crore to 50 crore. It is in terms of term loan, not CCOD facilities. Because if they are having a CCOD facility, they are no way allowed to open current accounts. Okay. The bank should not route any withdrawal transaction from term loans availed by the borrower through current accounts, and instead the funds from this term loan account should be directly credited to the vendors or the suppliers of the goods and services. Okay. Now what happens? What happened till now? That if somebody is having a term loan account or somebody is availing a term loan account from you, term loan from you, then the disbursement is made to this current accounts of the customer. Okay. So now onwards, if this is done, this has to be done through this disbursement has to be done directly to this vendor's account, those who are supplying goods and services to the customer. Because any business takes a loan, if it is a working capital facility, then it is of their own use, that and they need to open CCOD account, and that will go to the go directly to the customer. But if he is taking a term loan, and that is definitely for the business use, or definitely for payments, or he has taken some instrument in credit and he needs to pay it, and he has availed a loan, and term loans are always disbursed for a specific occasions. So that is why this disbursement needs to be done to goods suppliers. Okay. Suppliers of goods and services. Expenses incurred by the borrowers for day-to-day operations should be routed through cash credit and overdraft account. Okay. If the borrower has one, else it should be done through a current account. So that means anybody having a CCOD account will no way be eligible to operate a current account, whether in this bank or in any other bank. You will not be eligible to open a current account. Okay. So that is how the norms are stricter nowadays, and after this bi-monthly policy. And regarding CCOD account, when a bank's exposure to a borrower is less than this 10% of aggregate banking system's exposure, the CCOD account OD facility can be availed, but it can only be used for credits. Okay. This aggregate exposure if 10% from entire banking system, then the CCOD facility can be availed, but it should be done only for credits. Okay. Not for withdrawals. Any debit transactions can only be remit funds to the borrower's CC or OD account held with banks which has an exposure of 10% or more of the banking system's total exposure to the borrower. You got it? The bank which is having more than 10% of exposure, this CCOD account should be opened with that organization, with that bank only. Okay. If this aggregate exposure of a bank is less than 10%, then this CCOD facility can be availed, but it can only be used for credits. Got it? If it is above 10%, then CCOD, a full-fledged CCOD account can be opened. Okay. For a debit transaction, the exposure of the particular bank should be more than 10%. So that this is done to give exclusive right of the highest borrower, the highest lender, to have a monopoly over the customer's transactions. Now, after this formulation of this policy, the CCOD account regulation, this divert of funds cases will decline. Okay, and there will be stricter discipline, because many business, many cell companies, many business, to evade the tax, they were investing, they were transacting through current accounts. Because if they would have done the transaction through CCOD account, it would have directly attracted this GST, or it would have directly attracted this income tax rules. Okay, because audit through a CCOD account is always possible and is always easier. So if they will divert it through the current accounts, that may not be taken into consideration when this income tax will be filed, or when the GST audit will be done. Okay, so that is why many organizations, to evade tax, to evade GST, were transacting through current accounts. When a bank's exposure to a borrower is more than 10% of aggregate banking system exposure, banks can provide the borrower with a CCOD facility. If the borrower has availed loans from more than one bank, or more than one bank has exposure of 10% and above, the bank to which the funds are to be remitted may be decided mutually between borrower and the banks. Okay. All large borrowers that have a working capital facility bifurcated between loan component and CC component need to maintain the balance at individual banks in all cases, including consortium lending. Okay, so they need to maintain balances in every bank, and it is applicable also for consortium lending. Okay, and there are some light circulars that RBI has introduced this online dispute resolution mechanism for addressing the grievances that is pertaining to digital payments, because the number of digital payments are in rise, and in upcoming days this cash transaction will be little lower owing to this COVID outbreak, because through paper currency or through coins this virus spread, and once this awareness will be done, more digital transactions will be done, and it is healthier for the economy, but the virus is not. So now digital payments, in digital payments, an online dispute resolution process is introduced. Why it is introduced? The main thing is that mainly this disputes in payments goes to normal banking grievance redressal system, and that chokes the system, and many cases also flow to ombudsman, so that further chokes this bandwidth of banks and Reserve Bank of India. So to lower this burden of banks and Reserve Bank of India, this ODR mechanism is floated. To begin with, authorized payment system operators shall be required to implement an ODR system for dispute and grievance related to the failed transactions in their respective payment systems by January 1st, 2021. Okay, ODR arrangements would later be extended to cover disputes and grievances other than those related to the failed transactions, and an aggrieved person can also approach to ombudsman. Okay, and now this asset classification for urban cooperative banks have been changed. There are rules, you check it through this PDF. So but for the sake I'm telling you that it will be done on a system approach, because urban cooperative banks were largely not monitored, and they were highly corrupt banking institutions in India. So now, to introduce transparency in this system, this asset classification will be now done through a system based manner. Okay, before this it was done manually, now it will be done in a system based manner. UCBs having total assets of 2000 crore or above as on March 31st 2020 shall implement this system based asset classification with effect from June 30 2021. Less than one total assets of 1000 crore and or above but less than 2000 crore should introduce as on should introduce it having a self-assessed themselves. So they were given a pre-hand to assess them in a by themselves. Okay, UCBs which meet the above criteria as at this end of current or subsequent financial year shall implement this system based asset classification within a period of 6 months. Okay, so normally questions from UCBs don't come in exams related to PSBs. Okay, but somehow you have to remember it. As it constitutes MCQs, and normally MCQs are derived from master circulars. Okay, and this is not a master circular, by the way. These are those normal circulars plus master circulars. Whenever master circulars will come in a particular month, we will also be featuring them. But they are mere notifications. In this session, we are covered master circulars, notifications, and bi-monthly policies that have been released in a particular month. Okay, and guidelines for CIC. As you know, CIC is core investment company. Core investment companies are non-banking financial companies that have more than 90%. Yes. Shall we get RBI circulars of August month? There is not one circular for August month. There are many. I have compiled all of them, and this PDF will address all your concerns. Okay, I will be sending you. And I have tried not to replace the wordings of Reserve Bank of India, because in a examination or in a specialized officer examination or any lateral entry examination, it is expected that you speak with the wordings of Reserve Bank of India, with the wordings used in acts, the wordings that is used in Negotiable Instrument Act, etc. Okay, CICs are the NBFCs that hold their assets, 90% or more assets, in the form of investment, that is equity investment, preferential shares, bond, debenture, loans, etc. So it's an investment company, and their main business, their main earnings come from investments, and 90% of their business should come from investment. Okay, RBI released stricter norms for CICs under this recommendation of working group that is headed by Tapan Ray. Okay, I'm telling you. RBI says that the parent CIC companies, there are many wealth management companies, like there is a wing of IIFL Wealth, India Infoline. Okay, many NBFCs have their CICs. Okay, India Bulls have a CIC. They have registered in different names. Okay, these wealth management companies are normally CICs, core investment companies. They invest in other companies too. Okay, the holding company, which is a parent company, and hold the shares of a particular company. Okay, but this investment company hold their investment in different organizations. Okay, so RBI says that the parent CIC in a group will have to form a committee to analyze risks to which the group is exposed. RBI mandates more disclosures, better risk management, and simpler structure for the CICs. All CICs with assets over 5,000 crore will have to appoint a chief risk officer. Okay, and there is updates regarding UAPA. There is nothing. If you are working in a bank, you will find in this month there is a circular floated that any payment to Republic of Congo should be restricted. So UAPA says unlawful activities and prevention act. This is done by UN Security Council, and this enlists this Republic of Congo as a terror financing country. Okay, this is related to TF, terror financing. Okay, we'll be getting this PDF. We'll get all this information. Don't worry about it. Updates regarding MSME. All enterprises are required to register online and obtain this Udyam registration certificate. Udyam registration certificate is nothing but a Aadhaar like card for MSMEs. Okay, all lenders may therefore obtain Udyam registration certificate from the entrepreneurs. The existing entrepreneurs memorandum part 2 and Udyog Aadhaar memorandum of MSMEs obtained till June 30, 2020 shall remain valid till March 31st. Further, all enterprises registered till June 30 shall file new registration in the Udyam registration portal well before March 31st, 2021. Udyam registration certificate issued on self-declaration basis for enterprises exempted from filing GSTR or ITR returns will be valid for the time being, and that will be valid till 31st March 2021. So that means this Udyam registration certificate and in the registration in Udyam registration portal is become mandatory for MSMEs and lenders, the banks, those who are lending to MSMEs, or the institutions that are lending to MSMEs need to obtain it. Okay, like you obtain Aadhaar and PAN card in normal loan accounts, you need to obtain this Udyam certificate. Earlier, this Udyam Aadhaar was to be obtained. Now, this Udyam registration certificate needs to be obtained. Section 31st of BR Act, there is a notification regarding this, that this under this section 31st BR Act, which says about this disclosure of balance sheet, and banks should send the balance sheet to Reserve Bank of India in 3 copies. Okay, and to furnish and to publish this in financial newspaper. This timeline is extended, and this is also extended for urban cooperative banks also. Okay, there is nothing in it. So that's all in this edition. There is no more circulars from Reserve Bank of India in the month of August. I have compiled everything. Do watch this PDF. Do have a look of this PDF. This will be very essential. I have covered till now. I have covered all the circulars of July and all the circulars of August. Okay, in upcoming days we will be covering this. Rather discussing current financial news, this is better to discuss the news where it originates. Okay, any changes in the Reserve Bank of India is definitely news and definitely something that is to be understood by us. Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can post me. You can nowadays we are not discussing anything in groups, so you can post it. Okay, bye.